What's up? What's happening? Welcome back to Lacrosse Now. Travis Eldridge back with you once again this week, the week in between Christmas and New Year's, but no time off for us. We have a loaded show for you once again here today. We're going to continue previewing the 2023 spring season. Got a couple of terrific guests who are hoping to be playing deep into May this year. We've got Rutgers head coach Brian Brecht, as well as Virginia standout Peyton Cormier, both joining us to look ahead to the spring for their respective teams. But we're going to kick things off with a brand new league that is just about set to start. The Professional Box Lacrosse Association begins play on Thursday. You can see the game live here on Lacrosse TV on Thursday night between the Jim Thorpe All-Americans and the Syracuse Spark. Going into this game, it's a game that should feature some notable names, guys that you likely know. Former Syracuse stars Dylan Donahue and Tommy Palasek are expected to be playing for the Spark. Former Albany standout Jacob Patterson expected to be playing for the All-Americans. It's a game that should give us a good look at what this new league is all about as they launch and play their first game here on Thursday. It's also a look at the team named after the great All-American athlete Jim Thorpe. They're playing out of Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania, and the Jim Thorpe All-Americans named after that legendary athlete. He competed in the Olympics, played in the early days of the NFL and Major League Baseball. I mean, he was a do-it-all athlete who is considered widely as one of the greatest athletes maybe ever to live. Had a chance to catch up and talk with Jim Thorpe's grandson, John, about when the PBLA approached him about this opportunity to name a team after him and his excitement for seeing the Jim Thorpe All-Americans playing here on Thursday night.
This segment of Lacrosse Now is brought to you by Watch Dingo.
So we have the grandson of the great Jim Thorpe, John Thorpe, joining us now. John, appreciate you so much for taking some time here. Just your first reaction when you found out this new league, this new lacrosse league, the PBLA, wanted to name a team after your grandfather.
Well, man, I mean, first off, thank you so very much for having me. And what a great honor. I mean, lacrosse has been a Native American game, for over 1,000 years. So to have a league come in and they want to name themselves after my grandfather, he would be completely honored, as all of the family is. We're really excited about this.
Anybody who knows anything about your grandfather's legacy knows he was just an incredible athlete, played so many different sports. He's playing Major League Baseball and in the NFL in the early days of both of those leagues, just obviously an Olympian as well. What is your understanding about his lacrosse experience? Because obviously he comes from a Native American background and heritage, and so I know he's probably was experienced the sport a little bit. What do you understand about his experience with the sport?
Well, I don't really know a lot of that's been said about Grandpa playing lacrosse. I know that they would have their own Olympics on the reservation. So a lot of other teams or tribes would come in and they would do things such as wrestling and swimming and horseback riding. And it's my understanding that lacrosse was a part of those games as well. So Grandpa participated in lacrosse. I'm not sure to what extent or how good he was, but I sure wouldn't bet against him.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I mean, as soon as he picks up his stick, I have a feeling things probably came pretty naturally to him.
Everything came naturally to him. He was the first president of the NFL. He's the only athlete to play both football, baseball, and basketball in the same season professionally. He's the first athlete to score a touchdown and hit a home run in the same season. And he's a ballroom dancer. I mean, there just wasn't a whole bunch that Grandpa couldn't do.
Yeah, really incredible stuff. Obviously, I think this is a cool thing for the family in knowing that you're exposing Jim Thorpe and his legacy to maybe some people who are younger and maybe not as familiar with the story, and calling the team the All-Americans seems so perfect. Well, what's the lasting legacy you hope to continue to get out there about your grandfather as his name and what he did is now being exposed to a new audience?
Well, it's nice that the young kids are learning about him. I've got a grandson who's 9 years old, and they just read about Grandpa in school, so that his name hasn't gone away. And now that the lacrosse team is using his name on one of their teams, it just helps like bring about his whole legacy again. And people start asking, who's Jim Thorpe? What's all this Jim Thorpe stuff about? So when you can spike that kind of interest, especially in the younger children, it's just a wonderful and beautiful thing for the family to have and to keep Grandpa's name alive. And I know that the town is just ecstatic about it. The town of Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania. Oh my gosh, they're super excited.
Yeah, and they're getting ready. The first game's being played up in Canada at the Iroquois Lacrosse Arena, and it seems fitting for it to be played there along against the Syracuse team, knowing that the Native American background of your grandfather, right? Exactly.
Yeah, I wish I could have gone out there to watch the game. And if you guys can send me a link to the game, man, I'd love to watch that while it's going on.
Yeah, we will. We've got the game right here on Lacrosse TV this week, so we'll make sure to get that to you, John. We appreciate you taking some time here. Enjoy the beginning of this league. Hopefully you have a chance to watch, and thanks so much for sharing some more info about your grandfather. He was obviously an incredible athlete, and we appreciate you sharing some of your insight.
Travis, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so very much. Thank the league, and go Jim Thorpe All-Americans. Go get them, buddy.
So All-Americans and Spark right here on Lacrosse TV, 7 p.m. Eastern, Thursday night, first ever game in PBLA history. Going to be a lot of fun. Remember, you can watch it here on Lacrosse TV. Just go to laxsn.com, and that's where you can see the feed. Also, plenty of other distributors as well. But laxsn.com will get you in the right spot for All-Americans and Spark. All right, let's look ahead to the 2023 college season now. Continuing our look ahead to the spring, and two teams that we expect to be, or at least they hope to be, playing deep into May once again this year. We've got Rutgers and Virginia. Had a chance to catch up with Rutgers head coach Brian Brecht and Virginia player Peyton Cormier over the last couple of weeks. So let's take a listen to those interviews. We'll start with Rutgers head coach Brian Brecht. Scarlet Knights, of course, coming off that first ever trip to championship weekend. So coming off a run to championship weekend a year ago, we've got Rutgers head coach Brian Brecht. Brian, what's the momentum you try to draw from that as you enter the recruiting cycle and then back into fall ball? What's the strategy you've used?
Well, our fall is a big development time. So, we're developing the new guys that are coming into the program, and been happy with being able to be slow and steady with them. We haven't had any fall scrimmages, so it's allowed us to take our time in some of the introduction to some of the things that we'd like to do, and obviously seeing where our returning players are with a couple of years under their belt, coming back with their experience. Can we do things a little differently? And I think that we have some core principles and ideas of how we want to play, and but when new guys come into the program and older guys can be a little more versatile and develop their game, it allows us to pivot a little bit. And I think that's the time we're in right now, is trying to see where our strengths are and developing into how we want to be in the springtime.
Because obviously for the program, it was the first getting to championship weekend. What did you learn about the experience of how you managed the run in the NCAA tournament and where you guys got to?
I think the consistency. I think just having a routine. We've had a great routine the last couple of years, and whether it's early in game week, at the end, traveling, game day in particular. So I think that process and that routine has helped us grow, but also be consistent. It's allowed us to maybe when things aren't going great, or the weather's not the best, we're able to stay true to who we are. And I think we've had some games that allowed us to get into the postseason and play on Final Four weekend. And if we didn't play well and we didn't have that consistency and that confidence, maybe we wouldn't have that opportunity. And certainly wish we would have played a little better on that last game of the year. But that's I think it was, as much as it was good for our returning guys getting back into the NCAA tournament and playing well and traveling and understanding the quarterfinal setup, it still was new to a lot of us, being able to, be in that Memorial Day weekend. So it's certainly, baby steps, I guess, as a program. But I think we've learned a lot, and I think that's what we're going to lean on our returning guys for this year, for that experience to come back and be better for it.
I think you probably can talk to this more than most with how many near misses you guys had in terms of NCAA tournaments and stuff in years past. But I wonder how much you talk about the margin, because the margin between where you guys were last year in getting to championship weekend and just missing the NCAA tournament as you guys had done in the past can be like a goal or two throughout the entire season. Do you mention that to the guys about in terms of execution and walking into every game knowing how important it is? Because it really can be one or two goals over the course of the entire season, the difference between getting to where you want to be and watching at home in May.
Yeah, I think you can, slice that a few different ways. It could be, one or two goals, one or two saves, one or two ground balls, one or two clears, one or two faceoffs. Yeah. So, that's where, I really give a lot of credit to, some of the guys that have helped do the heavy lifting over the, 2015, 16, 17, 18 seasons in our program, because it didn't happen, last year or 2 years ago. And some of those teams, in 2016, I thought we were, 11 wins and played in a Big Ten championship. We had, a lot of opportunity to, besides the AQ, be a tournament team, and it didn't break that way. And same with 17, 18. So you feel bad for those guys that put all that hard work and really a lot of the heavy lifting to get our program to where we are right now, not have those experiences. So, but you don't get games back, you don't get practices back, and that's that's kind of the message I'm trying to share this fall, is that it's not automatically going to happen for us, this spring. Some of those names that have won some big games for us have graduated from the program. So, these lifts, these practices, these film sessions that we have, the understanding, and for the older guys to be able to mentor the young guys as fast as they can, for the young guys to be able to come up to speed as fast as they can. Right now in November, December, January, those will be make a difference, once the games start and we head through March and April.
One of the guys you do have the luxury of coming back is Ross Scott, and he's coming off a great year a year ago. I wonder, because for some guys, it's obvious what they need to work on, but when Ross Scott has a year like he did last year, sometimes to the naked eye and to the fan, it's not as obvious. What are the things that in the conversations you have with him or the coaching staff has with him about things to work on and things he wants to work on in order to try to continue to get better?
Yeah, once again, I know you, knowing about some of our players throughout the years, but, Ross is one of those guys that have, continuously developed his game. And, to see him be the, last guy to leave the field, all last year, and doing extra work with Colin Kirst, I think that's why he's the player that he is. He's a dynamic athlete. He's got some, great God-given abilities with his feet and his change of direction. But, just his work ethic of putting in the time, developing his skill set with both hands and his finishing and shooting ability. And I think, in the last couple of years, he's someone who's been on the field for us as a freshman, because he was that talented. And I think he's had some great mentors with Kieran Mullins and Adam Charlambides, and, Colin Kirst living with him last year and always staying after practice to do some extra work. I think now he's starting to take on that next role in his career as being a captain, being a leader, not just himself, but, kind of passing it on to the new guys and to the returning guys that he's going to be, side to side with right now on game day. So, love going to practice with him. He's great in the locker room and on the field, and happy for all the success he's having. And, I think the summer with the world team, and experiencing those games and that atmosphere has also just helped with his experience. And, we're looking forward to him, getting out there and being a leader for us on the offensive end this spring.
Yeah, I had a chance to play with Team Canada this summer, which was really fun to watch him play there. And it's always so funny, the transition of the freshmen or sophomores who are being brought out or helped along by the juniors and seniors, like, hey, you know, we're staying after practice, we're shooting more, and the transition of now that guy is bringing somebody else who's a freshman or sophomore out to the field after practice to keep shooting?
Yeah, and like I said, that didn't happen overnight. You know, we had some talented players over the years. You know, Jules Hennenberg was a guy who stayed after practice, and Alex Bronzo was a pro as far as the ladders, the footwork, the training room. And I think, you know, you see, you know, Ethan Rowell and Colin Pless had seen that, and they're passing it on to the guys in our program now, just like, you know, AC and Kieran, you know, passing it on to Ross, and now Ross is passing it on. You know, you see the Jack Amones and the Nick Tereskis and the new freshmen that are, you know, now seeing, you know, that it really steamrolls, and it's great to see. And I think that's a big reason for our development and also our team success is how much guys that care about, you know, doing the extra work outside of practice time to develop their game and help their friends and roommates and teammates, you know, develop their game as well.
So you mentioned Colin Kirst. Obviously, he's no longer in goal for you guys. You've brought in a couple of transfers. Obviously, you've got some options there. What's the goalie battle looked like here in the fall?
Yeah, you know, certainly, losing Colin as an All-American and a leader, you know, but each college program, no matter what sport, you're going to lose talented seniors every year, and there's going to be new guys that come in. So I think the goalie room is very competitive from top to bottom. You know, with a couple of the grad transfers that have come in, you know, with a freshman with Colin Stoller. So I'm really encouraged with the fall workouts. Them understanding and growing up with the defense around them, you know, developing their skills, understanding some of the terminology and what we're looking to do in the clearing game and defensively. So that's why it's been a great fall, and you know. We don't have to be able to, you know, play a game, you know, in September or October, but, you know, the last couple of weeks, you know, it's been nice seeing the development of our goalies, and our program as a whole. So, you know, it starts in the goal, and they've been great so far.
You mentioned that your fall strategy, a lot of development. You guys didn't have any fall scrimmages. I wonder, what did you learn about this group in particular throughout the fall, where you guys were really practicing in terms of your fall ball, that you hope to take into 2023?
Yeah, you know what? I thought what I've learned is that you know, we have a lot of new faces, and you know, so you know, it's just a matter of you know, having them understand, and you know, whether it's the new faces or the returning players, you know, stepping up and having new roles. So that's why it's been nice to gradually take our time with some of the conditioning and the stick work and the skill development early on, and then kind of, you know, starting to, you know, layer in some of the things offensively, defensively, riding and clearing, and some of the, you know, specialty stuff that you know, we're just starting to get to now at the end of the fall. So, you know, we wouldn't be able to play a game at end of September, early October. I think we are now. And I think that's the goal, to be able to, you know, use this as a long preseason, you know, because January, it's quick. You got you have 2 weeks of practice, you got a couple of scrimmages, and then, you know, you have a first game on the first weekend in February. So, you know, I think the fall is a great way for us. And the last couple of years, we've had some older guys that have led the way and have been there for us. And we have that right now. You know, you mentioned Ross Scott. You know, David Sprock coming back as a fifth-year guy, and Shane Knobloch and Bobby Russo and Ethan Roll. So there's a lot of older guys that have you know, been a big part of our success over the last couple of years, and seeing them mentor and put their arm around the new guys has been helpful for us to, you know, grow throughout the fall, and been happy with the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, you get back in January, it's a sprint to game one. It's not a marathon at all. It is like, let's go. We got to hit the ground running.
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing right now is, you know, we layer, and we're adding some things now in our 8-hour week, that maybe we, you know, pick one thing to, you know, have some quality over quantity, as, you know, as we practice right now, you know, heading into Thanksgiving and maybe a week after, you know, retaining that, and making sure that, you know, the guys, you know, understand and have a familiarity. So when we come back in January, you know, it's not like we have to reteach it. So that's the big thing right now in the fall, is making sure that everyone, not just the starters, but the new guys and the guys that are going to have to sprinkle in, that they're comfortable in retaining what we need to do and what they need to do to have success for us.
Oh, Coach, it was awesome to watch the run you guys went on last year. It's so cool to see where your program has gotten to. Can't wait to see you guys back in action here in 2023. We'll catch up closer to the season, but thanks so much for the time.
No, my pleasure. Thanks so much.
We continue to get ready for 2023. We've got Virginia Cavaliers offensive player Peyton. With all the offensive pieces you have, I don't know if you're going to be an attackman or midfield. So I'll say offensive player to set things up. Thanks so much for taking some time.
Yeah, of course. I'm happy to be here. It's fun.
So Peyton, let's start there with the amount of pieces you guys have on this offense. What's the feeling on that end of the field coming out of the fall?
Yeah, I think this year, unlike any other, is anybody can play. We have lots of guys on the team who can play attack, play midfield. Really, it's your best six in that week of practice that are going to play. Obviously it's going to be like the best 9, best 10, but the best 6 are the guys that are going to start the game, whether that's attack, midfield, wherever they feel comfortable. Just having the mindset that it's the top guys that are going to play and start the game.
So how does that affect you? Is that something you look at and you're like, I got to compete every day? How does that affect how you look at practice and every game week?
100%. My mindset is, you can't get outworked, can't, have somebody better than you that week. But you also want to support your teammates. You want them to be successful. You want the younger players on the team to develop. You want the older guys to, really bring that leadership role, be successful. So there's a lot of ways to look at it, but obviously, just having to compete every single day is, it's good.
Is there anything in the past in your lacrosse experience you can relate this to? Because that, at the college level, you obviously got to compete every day to perform at this level of Division I lacrosse, but it feels like this is ultra competitive to be on the same team with all these guys who all could play minutes probably just about anywhere in the country.
Yeah, for sure. Thinking back, it would be, probably my first year of junior A lacrosse, that rookie season. Just being able to, crack the lineup with 96s on the team when I'm born in 2000, that's pretty difficult. So, you had to, outwork guys that are, 3-4 years older than you. And some players who are already in college, really successful in college, just having to keep that edge 24/7 in order to, make a lineup.
So you've obviously had success here early in your Virginia career, but I wonder, as you kind of get now into the upper class years, what are the things that you work on outside of the normal practice hours where you're looking to maybe take another step? What are those things you focused on entering 2023?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is just, the composure level, slowing it down. Since freshman year, you sort of really want to, get out there and do every single little thing 100 miles per hour, trying to be successful. I think as you get older, you're trying to, take a step back and look at the things that you're not doing well, what you should focus on, and the things that you are doing well, and how to keep doing them well, versus, that freshman year when you're trying to do everything a million miles per hour.
What's it like to play with Connor Schellenberger? Because it seems like he makes a lot of people around him better. What's that experience been like?
Yeah, for sure. Shelly's he's a pretty special player. I wouldn't even say, he makes a lot of people around him better. He makes every single person around him better. He really shows all the young guys what it takes to work hard. He's there every day, before practice, shooting, working on, his game. And, as his teammate, that's something you love to see. You're going to get his best effort every single day. So you obviously love to have people like him around you.
When people ask you what it's like to play for Lars Tiffany, what do you tell them? Do you have a story that sums up what the whole experience there with Virginia lacrosse is like?
For me personally, I don't really interact with, Coach Tiffany a lot since he's on the defensive end. Okay. But, I do think he's a great coach. Whenever, I think the offense is clicking and doing really, really, really well. He's on the defense, and, when the defense is shutting us out in practice, he's sort of laughing and cracking jokes at the offense, just saying like we can't compete. So it gives us that competitive edge. And I think he does a really, really good job at that in practice, and, letting us compete in all the drills that he schedules, what he sets up. It's just, it's fun to have that offense defense, clashing.
So what's it like between like him and Sean Kerwin in practice in terms of the offense versus defense?
Honestly, in practice, they're really, it's two sides. They stay away from each other. I don't know if they have an agreement with one another not to, get too close, but the offense sort of stays with the offense and the defense stays with the defense once we, break off into those 6s, 5v5, those type of drills, the compete drills.
Sean Kerwin's been doing this for a while now and has had a lot of successful offenses. What's unique about what you guys have been doing at Virginia with him?
Yeah, obviously, I think he knows the game pretty well. From a player standpoint all the way to a coaching standpoint. I think that's one of the best things about him, being able to say, he was a player and was successful in his, college career. And I think he brings all that together in order for us to, try to find the best offense possible.
So you come off the loss in the quarterfinals to Maryland. Obviously, it's not the way you wanted 22 to end. And now I look into this year, and me personally, like from the national media perspective, I look at you guys on paper and I go, this team is loaded. You guys, I was talking to your coach, Lars Tiffany, and he recognizes how much talent you have. How do you guys manage knowing what the expectations are with what you guys look around and see in the locker room and on the field, but knowing like on paper doesn't win you a title, on paper doesn't win you ACC games, knowing that now we got to figure out how we're going to make sure that we live up to those expectations?
Yeah, for sure. I think that goes back a lot to last year where, it was sort of the same deal with us. On paper, we looked like, we were the best team in the country, and clearly like that wasn't the case. And I think just, letting everybody on our team understand that, hey guys, we're not going to win it based on the players we have. We have to click. We have to, find something that brings us together where, this becomes a lot easier because we're a team, not a bunch of individuals.
Because you haven't been on this team that hasn't been coming off essentially like a championship run. Like, how different was this fall and off-season feel compared to some of the past ones?
Yeah, it's a little bit different. Obviously, not going to, Canada, USA scrimmages, stuff like that, having, a bunch of, reporters, just talking about being defending national champions. I honestly think it's like a breath of fresh air. Not everything's in your face, and the expectations aren't there to do something that hasn't been done in however long. So just being able to sort of have your back relaxed and stress a little bit more stress free, but still knowing the expectations for somewhere like the University of Virginia.
Yeah, whether you're winning a championship or not the year before, the expectations there don't change. So that certainly stays the same. Peyton, we can't wait to see you guys back in the field this spring. Good luck. Enjoy the break here before you guys get back on campus. And good luck as you get back on the field ready for spring practice.
For sure. Thank you so much, and thank you for having me.
So a thank you to Brian and Peyton for taking some time to look ahead to the spring season. We're going to think warmer thoughts, despite the fact we've been in a cold freeze in the Northeast and, quite frankly, most of the country over the last week or so. But we're going to think warmer, better thoughts as we look ahead to 2023 for both Rutgers and Virginia. Plenty of great interviews coming up here in the next couple weeks, so make sure you stay subscribed to the podcast, subscribe to our YouTube channel, watch on Lacrosse TV live on Tuesday nights as well. Whatever way you consume lacrosse now, make sure you stay locked in because we've got Virginia Coach Lars Tiffany, Penn State coach Jeff Tambroni, much more coming up here in the coming weeks. So make sure you stay locked in to Lacrosse Now. But for now, that's all the time we've got. We'll see you right back here next week.